I seen a Facebook post that said, I'm empathetic because, and I didn't finish reading it. Why? Because if you're an empath, if you're empathetic, that's something that's created within you. It's not something we choose. You can be compassionate and choose that. What do I mean? Okay, so empathy is a complex process with both automatic and conscience components. It's not simply a fixed character trait, but it is a skill that can be strengthened over time. But we are born, all of us, with a certain capacity for empathy. And we have a choice on whom we can choose to activate that empathy through, right? Or for. Now, what that means is humans are born with a predisposition for empathy. Some neuroscientists even theorize that mirror neurons provide a neurological basis for this by allowing the brain to mimic and feel what another human being is experiencing. Experiences during childhood and beyond have helped develop our natural capacity into a more advanced skill. I would probably say, so to me it sounds like neuroplasticity, but with empathy. So I would say that our empatheticity, the conscious, effectual part of choosing empathy involves perspective taking, which is using controlled cognitive processes to interpret another person's feelings and viewpoint. Why am I talking about this? Because this is how we're able to study philology being subjective. The subjectivity of philology from every angle. I'll get a bit into that more tomorrow on our gate check. Basically, we can choose to invest in. So basically, we could choose to invest in this mental effort. We are born with a natural capacity there. It makes me think of the game Sims, right? Did you guys ever play Sims growing up? When you started creating your character, right? You would start it out and you had these traits. And they were empty, but they each had a slot and you could fill them up to like 10 or whatever. And you could choose how many points, you got a certain amount of points, and you had to figure out, okay, I'm going to put this many points on playful, on intelligent, on, but each category only they had an empty bar, but there was like only a certain amount that you could fulfill that bar. And so I'm viewing empathy as being, and the capacity as being that, right? But God is allowing us to choose what our character, how much that empathy bar gets filled up. He set a limit, he set boundaries on that empathy. But he gave us the freedom to choose that. So empathy isn't necessarily something that we can't control, but we do each have a certain capacity for that. And it makes me think of faith. But compassion is an intentional choice, and it has to be an intentional choice, right? Compassion is different from empathy because it moves past a shared feeling to a deliberate act or a deliberate motivation to act on or help relieve another person. Hold on, baby, come here. Another person's suffering, or another's suffering, I guess I should say. So it's basically an awareness, right? Compassion is like an awareness of another person's struggles, not necessarily their emotions, but their struggles, combined with the desire and choice to help them. Empathy can become overwhelming. I think that empathy works for us once we start building that skill, kind of like faith, right? Like once faith is activated, we choose to develop that skill. And with empathy, we choose to develop those skills. And now the thing about it is that once those things are activated, I would say those are spiritual gifts, right? Whereas compassion is a human trait and a choice that we can make, right? Like we can apply the principles from the Bible, and that is a natural occurrence. It's an occurrence, a choice that we make in the natural, right? And we make those things happen. But the spiritual, empathy, these things, we develop them, we choose, we make a choice in our mind to surrender to these things. And to build up that capacity. But it's not us that fulfills, we're not like, okay, I'm going to feel this person's. No, we trust in that capacity, right? Lean not on your own understanding. So in empathy, we're not leaning on our own understanding. We're not leaning on, hey, I recognize a struggle, so I'm going to make a choice and I'm going to help. Empathy is something you've made a choice to develop, and there's a capacity for that, a natural one that's set in place. And so whenever you're around certain people, the more you develop that skill, the more you're able to form these bonds with people based on or have this group cooperation, right? And so we need that empathy, that perspective, in order to rightly divide the word. And that's where philology comes in. That's where the subjectivity and understanding subjectivity, it's not subjective philology, but there is subjectivity to be discussed. And we'll talk about that tomorrow a little bit more. But keep this in mind, okay? Some people would say, be careful what you ask for. If you develop empathy more than you develop faith, you're going to be distressed and weary. But the good news is that all ye who are weary and heavy laden, come to me and I will give you rest. Like, not me, God, right? Okay? Develop that faith. We're so focused on, I'm an empath, but are you faithful? Because if you're lacking that faith and you're an empath, you're probably really, right? Been there. I'm still there sometimes. Just thought it was interesting. It's just my perspective, so bye.